You ever have a night so bad it rewrites every rule you thought you lived by? I never believed in true evil until 2:47 a.m. that morning when my premature daughter's heart monitor exploded through the house, a sound I'll never forget because someone had cut the power to her incubator. I wish I could say it was an accident, but when I saw the look on our HOA president's face later, I realized I'd just come face to face with a monster who tried to murder a federal judge's baby and didn't even flinch. Yeah, let me back up a sec because you need the whole story to understand just how deep this madness went. See, the alarm that woke me wasn't the smoke detector or the security system. It was the monitor hooked to my 3-month-old daughter, Emma, who'd been clinging to life in her clear plastic bubble since she was born at 26 weeks. Her lungs weren't ready for the world. Her heart was weak. Without that incubator, she didn't stand a chance. I'll never forget how her tiny body felt in my hands that night, cold and limp, barely 4 pounds, her skin turning that awful blue-gray, the incubator dead and dark. All I could do was breathe for her, my mouth over her mouth, one shaky breath after another, just praying she'd make it. I dialed 911. My hands shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. My baby's not breathing, her incubator lost power. She's premature, please, you have to help us. The dispatcher was calm, professional, told me to keep doing rescue breaths, and for 7 endless minutes I was Emma's lifeline, running around the house in pure panic, checking every breaker, every outlet, desperate for something, anything to save her. Only the nursery was out, only her room. The rest of the house was fine. That should have told me everything, but at the time all I cared about was keeping her alive. Paramedics stormed through the door, took over with their equipment loaded, Emma into the ambulance while I sat beside her, tears running down my face. "Is she going to be okay?" I begged. The paramedic, gentle, kind eyes just told me, "We're doing everything we can, Mom. 10 minutes without oxygen is a long time for a baby." At the hospital, they rushed her into the NICU, a swarm of doctors and nurses working over her like her life was some fragile thing already slipping away. Dr. Martinez, her neonatologist, found me hours later, and I braced for the worst. He told me she was stable for now on a ventilator, responding to treatment, but it was close. "Another few minutes and we would have lost her," he said. "There may be damage. We won't know for weeks. But she's alive. That's what matters." When I called my husband James, deployed in Afghanistan, serving while I fought my own war back home, I broke down completely. "Emma almost died," I sobbed. "The power went out just in her room." He was confused, angry. "Just her room." "That's not possible, Becca. You need an electrician." I knew it wasn't an electrical problem. 3 months in Willow Creek Estates had taught me exactly who pulled the strings around here and who'd hated us from the minute we moved in. Karen Mullins, HOA president for 8 years, iron gray hair, eyes cold as stone. She ran this place like a dictator, issuing fines for every little thing, grass mailboxes, driveway parking. But for us, it was personal. We moved in when I was 6 months pregnant, needing a safe place while James was gone. The community was supposed to be family-friendly, worth the steep fees, but Karen had objected to us from day one, questioned James's military pay. My job as a federal judge said military families were too transient. When Emma came early and we had to set up medical equipment, Karen really kicked into gear, complaining about ambulances, disturbing the peace oxygen tanks, being unsightly, trying to fine us for things nobody else would care about. But this time wasn't about fines or complaints. This was attempted murder. Someone had deliberately cut the power to Emma's room, and I drove home from the hospital as the sun came up, absolutely wrecked, but burning with fury. There was Karen standing out front in her yard, watering her roses, dressed to the nines at 6 a.m. She saw me and smiled a smile that chilled me to my bones. Not concern, not sympathy, just satisfaction. Like she knew exactly what happened and was glad about it. I crossed the street ready for war. "My daughter almost died last night," I said. Karen just shrugged. "Oh my, how terrible. These old houses never know when the electrical might fail." I looked her right in the eyes. The electrical didn't fail. Someone cut the power, just to her room. She held my gaze, her voice flat. That would be attempted murder. The word hung there like she'd been waiting to say it. I fired back, "You're right, and when I find out who did it, they're going to federal prison for the rest of their life." Her mask slipped for a split second, then she went right back to watering her roses. I called in a professional, Mike the electrician. He confirmed that someone had used wire cutters, made a clean, precise cut to the outlet that powered Emma's incubator. This was no accident. I called the cops, but Officer Thompson, longtime Willow Creek buddy, his daughter played tennis with Karen's niece, his wife did the garden club, he just brushed it off. Could have been kids playing pranks. Maybe a contractor. Hard to prove intent, ma'am. He wasn't investigating squat. But I had resources they didn't. Federal judge means federal connections. I pulled security footage from every camera in the neighborhood, filed the right requests. Within hours, I was watching the night unfold. 1:30 a.m. Karen's door opens. Figure in dark clothes slips out, head straight for my house, sticks to the shadows but visible just enough. 1:45 a.m. Figure by our electrical box working with purpose, then disappears back to Karen's. Door closes at 2:15. Not the best video, but with a little FBI software I sharpened the images, matched height, weight, even her walk. Not court-level proof maybe, but paired with everything else, enough for a warrant. The real kicker, Karen used to be an electrical contractor, ran her own business for decades. She knew exactly how to cut a line to one room, leave the rest untouched. Digging into her past, I found she'd been investigated before, harassed a Hispanic family in Phoenix until they left, targeted a gay couple in Denver, escalated from complaints to actual sabotage. ICE calls harassment squads, but never crossed into violence until now. Emma was in the NICU, fighting for her life. The next week was hell. Her brain swelled from lack of oxygen, seizures racked her tiny body, but somehow she pulled through. James got emergency leave and flew home. When he saw Emma surrounded by machines, he just broke down. "Who did this?" he asked. "Karen Mullins. I can prove it." He grabbed my hand. "Do whatever it takes." I called Margaret Chin, a federal prosecutor I trust with my life. She was horrified, took the case on the spot. Attempted murder of a federal judge's child is a federal crime. We can charge her under terrorism statutes if we prove motive. Oh, I had motive HOA meeting tapes where Karen raged about federal judges thinking they're above the rules. It was enough. But I didn't stop at just pressing charges. I asked for a full FBI investigation into Willow Creek's HOA. The agents started knocking on doors, and suddenly people found their voices. Martinez family fined for their kids playing too loud. Johnson's targeted for flying an American flag. The Patels harassed for cooking Indian food. Karen's harassment didn't stop at us. She'd spent years running people out with fines, rumors, even poison. Her inner circle, Mrs. Henderson, Binocular Queen, kept logs on everyone. Officer Thompson filed false reports to help Karen dodge consequences. They thought they were untouchable. The FBI found it all: surveillance logs, evidence of sabotage, a handwritten journal from Karen herself that spelled it out in chilling detail. She called Emma their defective baby, a drain on emergency services time, to show them they're not welcome. The entry the night Emma nearly died: emergency tonight. Electrical problems happen. Sometimes parents learn hard lessons about where they don't belong. I don't care how tough you think you are, reading that about your child breaks something inside you that never really heals. The trial was cinematic, packed courtroom, Karen's high-powered lawyers trying to play her as a misunderstood community leader, someone who just cared too much. They couldn't explain the journal, couldn't answer for the video, the electrical expertise, the years of escalating hate. Every victim testified: poisoned dogs, slashed tires, false reports to child services. When I took the stand, I told the jury about finding Emma blue and lifeless, about breathing for her, about a woman who calculated everything to hurt us. I looked straight at Karen and said, "She tried to kill my daughter to send a message." You could feel the air change in that room. The jury didn't take long. Guilty on every count: attempted murder, federal terrorism, civil rights violations, hate crimes. Karen crumpled. Her lawyer started yelling about appeals, but it was over. The judge gave her life without parole. You used your power to terrorize, to kill, to enforce your prejudices. This court has no sympathy. As the bailiffs led her away, she looked at me. No fire left, just fear. She'd finally met someone she couldn't bully. Afterward, the FBI kept digging. Thompson, the cop who covered for her, got arrested for conspiracy. The whole HOA board was dissolved, replaced with federal oversight. We stayed in Willow Creek, could have moved, but this was Emma's home, and I wanted her to grow up in a place where her survival meant something. Everything changed. The new board set up civil rights committees, real transparency, zero tolerance for discrimination. The community garden became a memorial for kids who'd beaten the odds. Emma learned to walk there, then to talk. Doctors said the brain injury should have left her severely disabled, but she rewired herself, taught herself sign language, read books before kindergarten. She has this empathy, this strength, maybe because she survived the worst. The neighborhood grew too, families returned, new folks moved in, the fences came down, literal and figurative. Every spring, we hold Emma Williams Community Day cultures, celebrated kids running through the garden, laughter everywhere. Emma cuts the ribbon, gives a speech. All these flowers are different, but they're beautiful together. That's our neighborhood. And you know what? She's right. That's the life. Karen tried to steal friendship competition over whose grandma bakes better cookies. Simple joys. Karen died in federal prison when Emma was 5. The notice came in the mail, but I felt nothing. She was just a shadow, powerless. Emma has no idea. She's too busy living, making friends, building fairy houses, dreaming big. Every day she smiles, and I remember that night when hate almost won, and I'm grateful she's here to prove that love is stronger. So that's our story. The story of a woman who tried to kill a baby out of hate and lost, and a baby who refused to be silenced. A neighborhood that chose hope over fear, inclusion over exclusion. Now, I've told you how it happened, but tell me, what would justice look like to you? Was it enough? Did the punishment fit the crime? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share your take on justice, community, and what it means to stand up for what's right. Because sometimes real change starts with just one voice refusing to stay quiet.